Hello guys and welcome to today's daily puzzle. Give almost everything to win. Let's get right to it. So what do I see? Well, I see that we are in an endgame and have a ton of pressure going on towards their king. But sadly though, even though we have all the pressure going on, we can't simply deliver checkmate. Because you might say, well, with all of this going on, doesn't that mean that we simply have to capture the pawn with a check for checkmate? Well, sadly, the answer is no, because they can't interpose, and after that, we don't have enough pressure going on. Because let's say, I don't know, we move in this pawn to add some extra pressure, well, then they can simply escape with the king. In a similar fashion, if we push this pawn in, then they can escape downwards. To that effect, we can't deliver checkmate as things are. So instead, we are going for a rather unconventional move and prevent the king from escaping over here by moving our own king over here. Yes, that does open up an escape upwards, but it also reinforces our pawns as now they have their king supporting them. Now clearly their king is going to use the newly escaped square to move into, but luckily we can now move our pawn up with the idea of pushing it even further with the other pawn to deliver checkmate anyway under cover of the king this time. But they are not gonna allow that and instead push their own pawn in. Now, as you might notice, their king doesn't have any options left to go. To that effect, if we can simply push this pawn in with the idea of capturing this pawn with the check, that would be checkmate. So once we push this pawn in, they're forced to capture. But by doing so, they have left themselves vulnerable to our pawn that can now actually move in and deliver a check once more. Which isn't correct because then their king can simply move down and escape once again. So instead, we are going to use our rook and capture the pawn finally. Why is it the right move now? Well, because once we capture the pawn with the rook, then the rook can actually slide over under cover of the pawn to deliver the side of the board checkmate, which it can now do, were it not for their bishop capturing it. But luckily for us, our king is now applying plenty of pressure, meaning that under cover of the king, our pawn can slide forward, delivering a check. The king has nowhere to go, so you know what that means, checkmate. There we go. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like. I hope you enjoyed it. If you aren't yet subscribed and do like it, please consider subscribing and hopefully see you next time. Bye.